Hello and welcome to the Shell Show. I'm your host, Jacob Shell. Today we're going to discuss faith, family, and finance in that order. You will not want to miss a minute of this one, so stay tuned. Let's get to the show. And we're back. Welcome, guys.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Today we have a special guest, Carley Cox, on the show. Professional golfer, also a close friend, and whatever else you want to be. What else do you want to be today? Anything else?
Those two work just fine.
Okay, perfect. And then, of course, the Trey Melton.
That's right. Hello to all the
over in
cameras.
corner. So, yeah, thanks for joining us. We
Yeah, thanks for
appreciate
having me. I'm excited.
it. No golf today?
There will be some golf today. I'll just be
Little
bundled
range
up.
session?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit chilly today.
It is chilly. It's funny that yesterday it was like 70-something.
It was perfect.
And then this morning it's 36 when we're going to the gym,
I know.
which is a little
Yeah,
crazy.
because Jake wants to go early and crap now.
We had to go early. You got to get the day started.
I agree with that.
We were going at 10-something and not getting out till like noon, and then you missed the whole middle of the day.
I totally agree with that.
Middle of the day is always like a lull for me, so it kind of works out. But
Early bird gets the worm.
early bird does get the worm. I'm not that interested in worm unless they're gummy worms or sour gummy worms. But
On the
I
bright side, now you're getting up. You're done working out before you were waking up before.
I'm trying to. All right, what's the bright side?
When
That
we-
I'm
You're
up earlier.
early. You've got more day to deal with.
Great.
More day. Congratulations.
Yeah, this is great. I love dealing with more day.
Congratulations.
Thank
So-
you so much.
Anyways, Carley, how did we meet? It was a
I think
parents'
me and
thing,
you
right?
were like born into some kind of friendship.
Yeah, some
church.
interesting, like a family friendship
Yeah.
/ maybe small group deal. We just have known each other forever.
Yeah.
And then Trey
How
comes
did we
into the
meet?
scene.
School. Yeah,
Definitely.
School.
I meet everybody from school.
I know.
feel like.
That's what it was. I mean, you were there from the early days too.
Yeah,
So
third grade.
we were all pretty early.
Yeah, true. We don't have any notes today. We're just going to kind of flow free. So talk to me a little bit about your experience at First Assembly.
Well, it was as early as I can remember. Most of the days of my life, I left First Assembly freshman year of high school, went to a different school, but then came back. So a lot of my time, a lot of my friends, a lot of the things I learned, and things that shaped me happened at First Assembly. So
Yeah. Where did you go?
Greystone.
Greystone. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Is that a charter school or?
Yeah, it was like a charter school, college prep, I guess
They have a golf team, don't they?
They do now. I kind of spearheaded it and then left.
Oh, you're so fancy.
I know.
So fancy.
So I kind of left them high and dry, but no, came back home.
Yeah.
And then we had our rockin' golf team, obviously.
Tell you what.
So that
Y'all
was.
are awful or what? I don't know.
No. She
Oh, y'all were
was
actually
great.
good.
The rest
we
of
were
us
bad.
terrible.
Did you
I
play on
mean-
the men's team?
Yeah,
She
I
had
was the
to.
only girl in the whole school who played golf.
Oh, really?
You can't even
was
do
like-
that anymore. I don't know if you know
Oh,
that or
really?
not. The seasons are separate.
Well, they usually are, like in public
Really?
school when you actually have enough people, but
Yeah.
I
They
mean,
won't
yeah,
even let that happen anymore. Even if it's just like there's one girl, there's a distinct season.
Unless you identify as.
True.
We don't have to
That's
get
true.
into that. Though.
Yeah.
We can leave
Sorry
that alone.
about that.
We can leave that alone.
All right. Anyways, yes. So
Yeah.
you played on the guys' team. That's incredible.
Yeah. Carly and
We
I
have some
were,
good stories
were
from
one and
that.
two. 1 and 2
we
for
had
the golf team.
Corbin, Matthew Griffin,
And what was
Spencer Lambert.
Spencer.
Yeah.
what was the dip on that? Is the
What you
levels like 1, 2 or like 1, 2?
Jake's pretty
Oh,
good,
no. Okay, so I'm a lot better now than I was then.
but you weren't.
I'm much.
you
I
weren't-
was terrible.
Not
you kidding me?
really?
I'm pretty sure I was shooting like 48
Well,
or
I mean,
50
it's high
on
school
9
golf.
holes.
Like,
Well, see, I also wasn't able to afford golf outside of school practice, which was once a week. So the only time I got any practice or to play was pretty much match days because
Yeah.
we didn't practice very much either.
yeah, I will say it is hard for people who don't like pursue it probably year round too.
Yeah.
You know,
So as an
practice
adult, being
outside.
able to be members places,
Right,
I
right.
got a lot better,
right?
much better. So it is night and day.
So you knew that you were good at golf when you were playing in high school. You knew you
I
had
was still
something.
very green because I didn't start golf until the summer before my freshman year of high school. So I was like 13, 14. I guess I would have been 14. My grandfather took me to the golf course like just while we were at the beach. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is fun. Like, I love this. So I dropped like basketball, soccer, all the other things just to pursue that. So I wouldn't call it good, but I was definitely like pursuing it.
Yeah.
So
She was cooking.
That's
It was fun to
crazy.
watch her beat all the other guys, and I was just sitting back hitting balls out of bounds.
Yeah, is there like a duos thing that goes on?
Jake and I did play together one time, and I distinctly remember him hitting my ball. Do you remember
Oh,
this?
absolutely.
He hit my ball, and I was like,
Absolutely.
that was my ball, Jake. I don't even know what we did
She finally hit
from
a
there.
ball that was like kind of on the tree line, and I
Yeah.
had smoked it into the trees. And I was like, yeah, this is my ball. She had the mark on it and everything.
And you kept it?
He just hit it, and so then I'm left with like.
She had to go find mine. Yeah.
Dang.
Sorry. It was cold. I was having a bad day.
I was like, you know what? Go ahead, Jake. That's fine.
Like mentally, he probably needed that.
She
though,
definitely
you know?
still beat me.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was good though. Good times.
We had fun. It was an interesting dynamic for sure. It was fun because your family were the only people that came to watch us play ever.
Shout out to the family.
Yeah, shout out to the
supporters.
fam. They came out and watched. I remember that. I remember hanging with Marty watching you finish when I had messed my shoulder up. I don't remember where we were playing, but I couldn't even swing.
And
a
that's
golf
when I
club anymore.
tore my labrum in my shoulder too. It was in a match at Rocky River. I don't know if you remember that.
Is that where we were at?
I remember this instance, like where I ended up tearing the labrum in my shoulder, was at. Like, I can tell you the swing it happened on. I don't remember the hole at Rocky River, but I was kind of like just left of the fairway, took that swing, and like something did not feel right in my shoulder. Which was then a 11-month recovery process, so that's no
Jeez.
fun. But
No shots whatsoever. Like you couldn't hit at all.
no, I took
Had to be in a
my first
sling?
swing after 11 months.
Wow.
Yeah, because
That's tough.
they said it was like, I just have like loose joints. Like that's just how I was like born, but I wasn't necessarily like strong in, like I wasn't really working out at that point. You know, my workouts had been just other sports until that point. So they said it was like a stretch rubber band of like me just continually taking golf swings, and one time it just like gave away and some tendons,
Rocky
ligaments, and labrum torn.
That
So,
probably is where our home course was.
yeah,
that
that's where we
point.
practiced, I think.
We kind of jumped around.
Yeah.
It's always been tough to land because like the school doesn't have a big budget for golf.
Right.
And the courses always expect you to pay them.
Right.
So you're coming in paying them like a couple $100 for 8 kids to hit balls 3 times a week.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
They're not cool with that.
Yeah.
And to play some. I wonder who we were. I had to have been there.
I don't necessarily remember much other.
You remember what year it was? Like.
I mean, it was only that sophomore year. That's the only year I played on the team because my junior year I wasn't able to play.
That's right.
So,
Yeah, that was messed up.
yeah.
I think you were, but you were like playing junior stuff, right? And that's
Yeah,
why you
so-
didn't play school.
Basically, I would liken it to AAU basketball or, you know, soccer, things that you like do on the weekend
Yeah.
because like, at least around this part of the state, it's changed a little bit since I was like in school, but you're being recruited on the weekends. You're not being
Yeah.
recruited at the 9-hole high school matches.
Yeah.
So the coaches will spend their weekends, they'll come out, they'll recruit. So yes, I was doing things on the weekends, and that's what I ended up doing my senior year. Like we didn't have a golf team.
Right.
So I just played, basically every weekend was spent somewhere between here and Georgia playing a tournament. So that's kind of how you get recruited. I guess it'd be like that with any sport these days. Like high school stuff matters, but not quite as much as like what you're doing on the
I
weekends.
feel like it's a lot more important in golf
oh yeah,
for that reason because you're still playing the same type of game in every other sport. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like
right.
A basketball game, you're still playing a full length game.
right.
Whereas you are very much 9-hole matches quick. They
Right.
gotta walk around to follow you or whatever. It's much more difficult to scout.
Yeah,
golf.
and anyone, I mean, you got to put 18 holes together, right? Because that's what you're doing in college. So not that 9 holes aren't valid. Like you can have a good 9 holes, but they really want to see, okay, like let's say your front nine's not going well, how you recover on the back nine, or
Yeah.
you know whatever. So they wanted to kind of see a whole picture, and you played 18 holes on the weekends. You had
Right.
more time, so
That's
yeah.
something I've been thinking about implementing as a golf coach is trying to schedule all our matches to be 18 holes.
I bet that's kind of hard
they'd
though.
technically still be 2 9-hole matches. But it would give like a full 18. It'd be better repetition for the players and then a better look for scouts too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I'm not saying that you can't get recruited high school wise. That's not what I'm saying, but just how.
It's more difficult.
Yeah.
And you ended up going to
I played at East Carolina. Yeah, I actually went to James Madison University my freshman year and then transferred to ECU and finished my last 3 years.
So did you have other offers or?
Honestly, I didn't have a lot of offers because junior year is like prime time for recruiting, and that's when I really messed my shoulder up. And I had only been playing like a year before then, so then it was basically like, okay, did that year really do you anything? Because, okay, now we're basically starting from square one all over again. You're learning how to reswing a golf club with a new shoulder. Well, not a new shoulder, but, it's been 11 months. Yeah. So I was not like highly recruited, but I think that going to James Madison my freshman year gave me the experience. Like I played, I think, almost in every tournament there as a freshman, and that gave me a resume to then be recruited by a better school. ECU is top 25 in the country when I transferred there, which a lot of people probably don't realize how like much of a powerhouse program we were for not being a Power 5 school. Yeah. So like we played in postseason 2 of my 3 years there. So that was always really fun, playing like regionals and the NCAA events. So.
And how does that work? How is it like a cumulative score or?
Yeah, so basically you travel, let me think, you travel 5 girls and the top 4 scores count. So you throw 1 girl out every round. Basically.
Do you get to choose? You get to choose which one?
It's the 4 best. The 4
best. The low
yeah,
score.
It's always the low 4. And then it's usually 54 holes, so 3 rounds. And then the cumulative team score wins, and then the individual person wins. Yeah. So we also didn't play like, it was not just like a regional thing. Like we went to Oregon's tournament, we went to Purdue's tournament, we went to University of Florida, we went all over the country playing. So I think it's interesting, like it's an invite system. So my coach had been the coach at ECU for like 20 plus years. So he was very well connected and our program was good. So we got invited to a lot of like really elite tournaments, which helped your ranking because if you beat that team head to head, it's like basically a 1-0 versus whoever. So if we beat Florida that week, we were 1-0 on Florida, unless you see them again in the season. So that's kind of how your rankings got, I guess, like cute. But yeah, so we went all over the country doing that, and it was really cool because I got to play golf like in some really sweet places that I would not have gone otherwise, and some experience like on different grasses. Like I had not played a lot on bent grass fairways, so we played in Minnesota a lot. We played in Ohio 1 or 2 times, so it was definitely like different grasses, different experience, which I think has helped me in my professional career because I would have otherwise never been to those places before and got to play in those conditions.
Bent grass, what is that? Just like some grass leaning over?
Irish have bent grass?
So they're bent grass greens, not fairways. Like around here, everything's Bermuda fairways.
Gotcha.
They're Bermuda fairways, bent grass greens, but up north, bent grass is all you'll find. So basically it's a little bit different. It's more the rough situation that's different. The fairways are good either way, but yeah, so.
At what point did you decide that you were going to go the route of playing professional golf? Or was it always just like the goal was to get
like starting at 9th grade or starting before 9th grade? That's kind of crazy for you to just be like, all right, I'm gonna go and play this, and you get hurt and everything, and then still go professional.
I think it was like, all right, step 1 was like, okay, I love this game. Like, let's see if I can get recruited in school. Obviously, the injury set me back. Had a few people tell me, like, I mean, you're not going to play D1 type thing. I think that kind of gave me, like, a chip on my shoulder, I was well aware that I was, like, I had a lot of improving to do. But I think going to school, getting that experience, improving every year, having conversations with my swing coach here at home. He's out at River Run Country Club, David Ross. He's awesome. He's been with me since day one. And then Kevin Williams, my college coach. I think I had a lot of like tough conversations with them, but like honest conversations like, hey, I don't want to be chasing something that's unrealistic. And I don't think it was set from day one, like, hey, I want to do play professionally. I think the dream evolved as I started getting better. And you know what, like, there's a small window for playing professionally, and, usually it happens right after college. So we all, like, had conversations, like me and my parents, me and my coaches, like, is this realistic? If so, like, let's see it through. Let's work really hard, see where you are at senior year. And, I just kind of went for it from there. I'll say I learned who you share, your dreams and things with that with. Like, I have a small circle of people who they were, like, my trusted people. They see me doing this day in and day out. They know the struggles. They know the things that if I were to tell someone else off the street, like, oh, you're crazy for turning pro. Like, I think you have to be careful. Like, my inner circle of people, they were really the ones that I could trust their opinions, and they were with me, like, every step of the way. So they kind of knew, like, or they're my support system, I guess. Right, yeah. And they spoke life into me. Obviously, there's more naysayers than people giving you the, stamp of approval. So, well, no, I'm not saying that everyone was a hater, but I'm just saying I think whether it's starting a business, doing whatever, have those people who are walking with you on a daily basis to affirm that or speak, like, wise counsel for you. Because if you're not walking along with that person or really know, like, what's going into it, I think it's hard to give, like, an opinion on something, because you can hear all the positive things in the world, but that one negative thing may stick with you and may may make you second guess things. And so yeah, I mean, like, I'm still on the journey. I'm not to where I want to be yet, but I'm definitely improving and, chasing this dream. I didn't want to look back and think, like, what if? So yeah, that's kind of how this journey has gone so far. I just completed my rookie year on the Symetra Tour, which is right under the LPGA Tour, which is the most elite tour in golf. So they graduate girls from this tour up to the LPGA.
Yeah.
So it's like LPGA and PGA, and then it's like Korn Ferry and Symetra Tour. Right. So I'm on the second highest tour, basically, in women's golf. So
small flex.
No, I'm just like people have no idea. So
I still can't hit my daggone driver straight, so that's incredible.
Yeah. So it's definitely a grind, but it's definitely rewarding and worth it, and get to see some pretty cool spots.
So you're in a different industry. It's not a 9 to 5 like me. I do, like, acting and stuff. Not a 9 to 5. I remember when I was, like, first doing it, my family they supported me, but it was like you're going to have to work, like, you're going to have to do all this stuff. This is not consistent and everything. Was your family like that, or were you like that in your head? Like, all right, well, if I don't make it by this time, or if I don't feel like I'm going to where I need to go and progressing like I should.
And I will say, I listened to the episode, like, where you talked about, like, going to LA and everything. And I think there's a lot of parallels between, like, what me and you were doing, even though it's different industries. Right. Because it's not normal. Yeah. And it's not, okay, like, I think you said, like, okay, they're a nurse, like, no one, gives an opinion on that or whatever, and, like, that's great. But it doesn't make it, like, any less valid. But there are then the financial obligations and things that come with that aren't, normal. So to answer your question, my family has been, like, the most supportive for me. It's definitely like they keep me in check to, hey, are you doing everything you can to get better? Because I do set my own schedule. So I need that accountability to make sure that I'm doing everything and putting 100% into this, because it is an expensive journey and it's a hard one. So it's not like you have a boss that's, hey, are you at work today? Yeah. I'm my own boss, which is, a wonderful thing. Like, people hear this and they're like, oh, you're just playing golf all day. Like, how fun. And I'm 100% thankful for what I'm doing, but I treat it as a job and I'm very critical of it. Yeah. So to me, it's not, do I enjoy it? Yes. Is it fun? Not always. Like, I'm very hard on myself. I'm working on things in my swing. You're analyzing everything. I'm so thankful to have this opportunity, but I do treat it as a job. And so I do have my coaches and my parents to really keep me accountable and check and making sure that I'm doing everything I can to be the best that I can be, because, if I'm not performing, I'm not getting a paycheck. Right. And so it's not like you go to the draft and you sign a contract and you're getting paid no matter what.
Yeah.
Like I put an entry fee in. I put some money in at the beginning of the week, and there's 144 girls. Top 60 in ties get a paycheck. So if I'm not in the top 60 in ties, I'm not getting paid.
Right.
So, and even if you do make the cut, it's not as much money as you may think. You're never really breaking even on this tour. So, but this is the route that you have to take to get to where you will then become profitable. So I think that answers your question of just like the support
100%
system.
agree.
It's just, it's different, and that doesn't make it less valid, but it does, there's a small window, so I've got to put everything into it that I can, like, while I have the opportunity.
And I agree with what you're saying on like you're just out there playing golf having fun, because people would be like, oh, you're just out there making jokes and stuff, like cracking up jokes, and I'm like, yeah, but I take comedy very serious. It's like a different element to it.
Yeah, and for most people, let's be honest, golf is a recreational thing. That's what they do to escape.
Don't look at me when you say that.
No, but like
that's messed up.
No, not you necessarily, but like just as a whole. I mean, it's what people do for fun on the weekends, and while I do find pleasure from it, that's why I'm doing it. I wouldn't be doing it if I hated it. But for me, I'm like, you know what? My free time I'd rather spend not at the golf course, because when I am there, it's hard to separate like fun from this is my job. And like if I'm at the golf course, I'm going to be giving it 100%, whether it's like for fun or not. So I'm not saying there aren't certain times where I do go play with some people that I know that there's not like the expectation of performance and stuff.
The crowd makes a difference.
Yeah. But I think playing with better people obviously makes you better. So I have a couple friends in the area that they're on the LPGA or Symetra as well. So we'll get together, we'll have some games, you know, we'll play for lunch or whatever, just so that something's on the line.
Yeah, I love that.
You know, so.
A little gambling.
Yeah, well, I guess you could consider it gambling, but it's got to
It's gambling. I don't know if that's illegal for you, but it is.
No, it's not.
Shout out Jen and Marty. We didn't give them a shout out when we were talking about the parents.
Jen and Marty,
and Nana
my
and
BFFs.
Yeah. Is that your parents' name?
My grandparents, yes, and that's the grandfather that took me and like got me started in golf, and he's
that's the man.
He is.
My homie.
So yeah, they've been.
Papa, you need to watch this. You got to watch it all the way through.
I know. I got to get him hooked up. Like, what is a podcast? So he'll probably be like. So I need to get him.
And also, if he can fix my drive, that'd be great, because Jake can't.
Bro, we don't have time.
I got more slices in me.
We're both showing
pizza.
up 5 minutes after the tee time already. So.
Got to get that prep work in. You got to commit.
Oh, it don't matter if I prep. I promise you that.
We're working on that.
Oh, that's funny.
I can line up to the tee box straight on, and be straight on looking down the fairway and hit it to the left, and that thing will still curve and slice out to the right.
It's a talent most people don't have.
It is. Well, okay. I don't want that talent.
That's what mine used to be like too. So.
What do you think the hardest golf club is to hit?
All of them. No, I'm just kidding. I think it just depends on the day. Like, you can come to the golf course one day and you are like, I'm not missing a shot. And then literally show up the very next day and be like, have I ever played golf before in my life? It's just, and I think that's what is so cool about the game. It's like, you never know what you're going to get dealt. You could hit a perfect shot, and this literally happened to me in Puerto Rico. We were playing in a event, and it rained so much there, and at most golf courses there's drains in the fairway. Well, I hit it like so good, and it hits the drain just right and like goes out of bounds in the middle of the fairway, and I'm like,
I would cry.
I was like, no, I mean, so and then you can hit a bad shot and it hit the tree and bounce back in the fairway. So I think it's just a very like,
I love those.
You have to take it when you get it. That's what I always say. Like, people are like, oh, that's so lucky. And I'm like, you know what? I will take it this time, because there's the times where I hit it in the fairway and it hits the drain and it goes somewhere else. Right. So I think everything has its difficulties. Like, one day your irons may be great and you can't hit your driver. I just think it's just a beautiful mess sometimes. Like, so I think, I don't know. They all give me trouble at times, but yeah. So we have the little babies right here.
Yeah, we'll put the clubs in the shot. We might do some what's in the bag kind of stuff a little later. What's your question?
Honestly, I just forgot it. I just went completely blank. I was really about to say it.
What's your go-to shot? You got to hit a fairway.
Oh, you reminded me.
Draw. Draw with my driver.
With the driver?
Yeah.
That's fancy.
Everyone loves a baby fade
Baby
but,
draw?
Yeah, I love the baby draw. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd rather see the ball
Surprised
draw.
you didn't say 3-wood or hybrid.
Oh, to hit. I thought you meant like.
No, I'm saying like your go-to shot. If you like say you're in the money, right?
Yeah.
And you've only got one shot to give or whatever to stay in the money. Are you gonna play a safe shot or are you pulling the driver out of the bag?
I think it depends a lot on what the hole's like. If it's wide open, I'm going to bust driver. If there's like water or it's really windy or something, I'd probably play it safe and like hit a hybrid to hit the fairway. So I think it's very
Pros don't miss big, so that's kind of a dumb question.
No, I definitely have my fair share of misses, but I think there's a lot that goes into like course strategy and like you said, where you sit on like the cut determines how you're going to play.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes having a game plan and like sticking to it, like saying it before you go into the situation, like, okay, hey, if I'm in this thing on Sunday down the stretch, I'm going to hit 3-wood.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to make that decision. Like, I'm going to declare that before I get in the situation because then it's like, what do I do? Do I hit driver? Do I hit 3-wood? Like, then you kind of psych yourself out mentally. I've learned that the hard way. So I'll say, hey, if we're sitting like this, we're doing this, like, I'm going to do this on Sunday. That way, when I get up there, I'm like, the decision is already made.
Okay.
Now, there may be some weather things that end up, changing that every once in a while, but that's kind of like, we have a game plan, and that way there's comfort in knowing, like, I did my prep work. I can execute this now confidently because we did this beforehand, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just mentally, I think that provides some level of, like, calmness in the very, like, stressful situation, so.
Yeah, walk us through a little bit of like the logistics on tournaments. So you talked a little bit about the cost. I don't know if you want to like talk about the expenses involved. We're gonna go a little bit down the rabbit hole on the pro golf thing because I love golf. Trey loves golf.
I suck at it, but I think that's why I love it.
Yeah.
Because I want to be good at it, and I'm not.
It's very challenging, but so I think COVID really, as it did with every industry, threw us a loop because, okay, I went to what they call qualifying school. Disclaimer, there's no like school or learning thing, anything related, because they're like, oh, what do they go to teach you?
What
and I'm
club
like,
is this?
No. So they call they call it qualifying school. And so it's basically just a qualifying tournament. And there's 3 stages. So I guess that's where the school name comes in. But anyone can declare that they're a professional golfer. Like, hey, I'm a professional golfer now. Yeah. As soon as you...
I'm a professional golfer now.
Well, wasn't it originally the end of the PGA program?
What do you mean?
So, like, qualifying school, and I could be completely wrong, like, you have to qualify to obtain the PGA certification. Like, if you're going to be a teacher or whatever,
so
there's a playing qualification that
there
you have
is
to pass.
to get your, like,
Was that ever a
PGA,
part
like,
of that?
teaching professional. So
Yeah.
PGA, like, golfing professionals and PGA teaching professionals are different.
Right.
You do have to complete, like, some online courses and then have a playing test where I believe you have to shoot the equivalent of, like, 75 to pass that certification to then teach people. So that's kind of like a different realm than what I'm pursuing, which is basically, so you are right in that aspect, but like basically what I did was in August of 2019, I went to Palm Springs, California, which is where stage 1 is. Usually every year there's about 350 to 400 people, and top 95 and ties make it to second stage. So I finished 45th-ish. In 2019, so then in October, I went to stage 2, which if you then make it to stage 2, you get Symetra Tour status.
Nice.
And how you finish there then determines your like category number. So I didn't make it out of stage 2 to final stage, which is where they award LPGA cards. So I was signing up to play Symetra Tour 2020, which, sounds bad, like, oh, you didn't get your LPGA card, but like honestly, this is, a really good circuit to
a handful of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like
stage 3?
members, but like I said, 144 people play in a tournament each week. So really, if you're not in the top like 150 ranking wise, you're really not getting many starts.
Well, I mean, for Q school, like you get to stage 3, and
oh yeah, there's only 100 people, and 50 of them come from the LPGA who didn't like obtain like reobtain their card.
And how many cards are available?
I think 40, but really only 20 of them are like good status, if that makes
Okay.
sense. So they really protect you once you get to the LPGA, which is like, good, I guess, once you get there. But it's kind of like a ladder effect. So for instance, I was going to play in 2020. Well, then COVID happened and they made it a not official year because a lot of where the LPGA plays is overseas, and, traveling in and out of the country wasn't a thing. So they awarded whatever status you had in 19 would then be your status in 21, and that would be the first full official year. So I basically twiddled my thumbs for 2020 because I was just trying to prepare for 2021, which was then my rookie season. So I played all of this year and didn't make it to the LPGA because only the top 10 all year get their LPGA card, which is like very minimal.
Yeah.
But that, so anyway, I'll be playing Symetra again this next year, but I feel like I just know so much more, just like you said, about the logistics of things because I'm planning literally everything, flights or driving, rental car, hotel, practice rounds. It's just a lot. What's the closest airport? Like we don't play in necessarily like big cities, so where's the closest? And then you fly in there and it's a 2-hour drive somewhere. There's just like a lot of moving parts. And as far as expenses go, we were testing every week up until August of this year. And like, so if me and you are roommates, and because a lot of girls do that to cut the costs, if you test positive and we're sharing a room, I then can't play in the tournament because we've been in close contact. So it's almost worth it to just front the expense to have your own room. So my mom traveled with me this year. Shout out to Jen again because she's your caddy, right? She was my caddy this year.
Yeah,
she was my caddy.
What is that like? Like for me, I would be like, all right, Mom, you got to shut up right now. I'm trying to do this.
We're like super close and we always have been. So it's really just more of someone to like chat and talk with, because if the other girls have caddies, I'm just kind of chilling out there with like my thoughts, and that could be a dark place sometimes. Yeah. So just having her there is like more emotional support. She learned a ton along the way, but like, was I asking her advice about shots? Like, no, that was basically all on me. So for this year, I'm thinking about looking into a caddy, but then that's also an additional expense because they don't work for free. So I think this year was just really like a learning, like what works best for Carley, what I think would benefit me, next year, because there's not a blueprint for everyone. I think everyone's a little bit different in what they feel comfortable with. So just kind of learning that. But yes, my mom traveled with me. She was my caddy. So I wasn't alone. Like, I know it got really lonely for some of those girls who weren't sharing rooms, and they wouldn't even let us like eat together at the golf course. Like, wow. I wouldn't get into all that, but it just was very like secluded for a while. Towards the end of the season, things got back to normal, and everyone was eating together. It is more of it's a friendly tour. The LPGA seems to be a little bit more like cutthroat and cliquey, from what I've heard. I mean, I haven't played an event yet, but I think everyone kind of understands like, hey, we're all just trying to get to the same end point. So we're trying to beat each other on the golf course, but it's like, I'm not going to say there's no hard feelings afterwards, because it's going to be heartbreak for someone, because if you think about it, only one person wins each week. Like, it's not a basketball team where you're together. So when people ask like, oh, how's your season been going? Like, did you win any? And it's like, you can have an amazing season and not win at all, or a successful season and not win at all. There's only one winner. So
it's the way it should be.
Right. No, I mean,
these participation trophies are
not that, but you know what I'm saying? As a team, there's on the basketball court, there's 5 people. On the soccer field, there's 11 people.
That's one of the most intriguing things about golf for me, and what keeps me coming back is I can't blame anyone else unless we play a 2-man scramble. Then I can blame somebody else.
Well,
but I think that was
not when it's me though. Not when it's me.
We've been struggling lately.
Listen, I have some chips that are incredible sometimes.
Yeah.
And I sunk 2 putts. It was only 2 putts I hit, but they were big.
But it's like that, it's not the only sport, but it's one of the few sports where you answer completely for your results. Mm-hmm. And so like if I hit a bad shot, nobody's bailing me out.
Right.
Which is kind of addicting.
Yeah. I mean, it's all you when it's you, and it's all bad, or when it's all bad, it's you as well. So I think there's a very like humbling aspect of that, as well as a very like rewarding part to it. So
So there's no, so are the girls out there like, oh, good shot, Carly, or are they kind of just like quiet, like, oh, screw this chick, just hit a freaking on the green?
Most people, I think it just depends on like who you're playing with. Also, we have girls. I think the average each week is 25 countries represented. So I think it depends on how great the English is. If you've played them with them before.
Bueno, Carly, very good.
So.
Is that okay to do? I don't know. Jake's been upset with me
when
today.
you do these things.
Jake's been upset with me
We
today.
don't cut anything.
I'm not.
Leave that.
I love whatever accent y'all think that is at home. I love those people.
I'll put subtitles up for y'all. I'll put some English translation.
I hope this anything I say does not represent Carly or her affiliation.
Correct.
And I didn't mean that as a bad thing. It's just some people, so
Right.
we have a very like diverse group of people, which is awesome because I've learned so much about like, I've played with people from you name it, and I've probably played with them this year. So to answer your question, I think it just depends on like if I'm with my really good friend, we're probably encouraging each other, right? But if I'm with someone who maybe is a little bit more reserved or, I haven't played with them before, not that they're not cordial, but it's probably not like a good shot every time. I tend to be a little bit more on like the friendlier side, so I'll do that a little bit. I mean, it's friendly competition, but if you're if you're in a playoff or something, I doubt we're like good shot. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you're also focused on your own game.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Like you're game planning the next shot because
For sure.
money's on the line.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, when we play, I'm trying to get in Wesley or whoever
absolutely.
we're
I'm
playing.
talking
Right.
trash. Do
I'm
you ever
talking
talk
trash
trash,
to
or
him.
is that not cool?
Do you think I talk trash?
Oh, okay. Well, do people talk trash?
You seem
Because-
like you seem like the type to whistle under your breath a little bit. I won't lie.
That was the worst shot I ever
Yeah.
seen.
Gosh, she sucks.
You're actually out here.
Or like, thank God.
You paid to play out here?
Or
No,
she just,
because
like,
I know
scuffs it.
as soon as I do that, it will come back and bite me because you know what, like I said, you can be on top of the world 1 minute and then just hit a shot and be like, what in the world was that? So like, I think just because I've been in those situations where you literally want to go like hide because nothing's going right for you that day, I try to have compassion, but like, do I hate to see it sometimes? It's like, well, I'm competing against you.
Yeah.
Like, you like to see when people miss layups in basketball. Like, it's not malicious, but it's like, okay, every shot matters.
helpful, yeah.
Everything, it's more money for me. Not that there's a lot on the line, but but yeah. So I it's mostly friendly out there.
So do you have like a rival or anything, or anybody you're just like so happy to see do bad? You're like, oh,
No, I'm
there
really-
goes Tamra sucking again. You love to see it.
Stupid bogey.
Yeah.
Oh no, I can't say I've developed like a rival. I mean, everyone out there is trying to beat each other, so I'll just leave it.
Is there
at that.
anybody you're chasing then? Is there somebody you're like, I want to be able to beat this girl?
Well, let's go with world number 1 right now, Nelly Corda. She is just absolutely killing it. She's won 4 times this year. She won the Olympic gold medal at the Olympics. Like, it's great to see an American do that. Like, I will like root her on because really, on the women's side, we as a country, like South Korean girls, they are probably the standard. There's the most who are doing successful. So, definitely.
But they're state sponsored, right?
Yes.
For the most part, there's like government programs that pay for
There
their
are a
stuff.
lot of support from some countries call them federations, like national golf teams. There are some funding, like if they choose you to be a part of that, they do that. Whereas like our country's just way too big to do that. And that's why it may sound weird of me like breaking things down by countries, but that's just kind of like how it is since it's like an individual thing. There's a Swedish national golf coach that travels around and like tends to the Swedish girls, or not every week, but they come and they like the Swedish team has a house in Arizona where those girls, if they're ever traveling, it's a free place to stay. Like
Dang.
you get to stay there. So that's why people tend to like categorize it by countries. But back to the question, Nelly Corda is absolutely killing the game right now. And so, you look to that, like, who's world number 1? Like, I'm trying to get to the LPGA. I'm trying to be competitive on that level. Like, whether or not that happens, like, I'm believing for it. But, so I think she's the standard right now as far as golf goes.
Yeah.
She's just doing everything right.
She's a great person too.
Yeah, I think that's true for most of the girls out there. Like, everyone's driven, everyone's like treating this seriously, and so there's definitely a level of respect there when you see someone doing that. Like, you know how much work they put in, you know the sacrifices that they're making, like on and off the golf course. Because if we're playing 25 plus weeks a year, like that's 25 weeks you're not in North Carolina with your friends and family, and that's a something that I related to you on, Trey. It's like, when people do see you, it's like, oh, you never like keep up or whatever. And that's on me to foster those relationships while on the road, but it's not the same as being in person. So it, you know, it may seem like I'm traveling around and having fun, but I do miss like being here, being in community. Like, you know, Miranda, your wife's one of my best friends. Like, I don't get to see her as much as I used to. And, you know, so it's just, you know, hard when you're not there. And some people, I think the people close to me understand, you know, what I'm going through, but those connections that you don't see forever, they're like, oh, you haven't like seen me in a while. And I'm like, well, I haven't seen like anyone in a while.
Yeah.
It's hard. So there's definitely like sacrifices outside of the golf course that are made, but like, it's necessary. I'm sure, you know, the greatest in any sport definitely sacrificed time, spent with loved ones. And, you know, I try to do the best with the time that I have when I am in town. Obviously around the holiday season, like these next couple months, it's off season. So I'm able to, you know, catch up with people and do those things.
Do podcasts and things like that.
Yeah.
So what about, are you in a relationship right now? Or?
I am, yes.
So how does that work?
It's tough. I think Graham would tell you that he came to a few tournaments this year. But it's just hard. Like, we FaceTime. I mean, thank goodness for FaceTime, I guess, because it's definitely a little bit better than on the phone. But, you know, when you are in town, everyone is wanting, like, your time, which that's not in a, like, conceited way. It's just, like, how it is. Like, I have both sets of grandparents. I have my parents, you know, my brother, my boyfriend, my best friends. It's just hard. And then I may only be home for, like, a week at a time. So then I'm trying to see my trainer, my coach, get some sleep somewhere in there, you know, practice. So it is really hard, but, you know, I do my best. I'm sure I've missed the mark quite a few times, but I do really try to, you know, spread my time evenly and make the moments that I am able to talk, like, count. There's time zone differences and all that stuff. I mean, it's definitely a grind, and it's hard in more ways than one, but I'm, like, thankful that I get to do this. And like I said, to make it, there's a small window of time. So I think my inner circle of people understand, you know, what it looks like on the daily, and that I do try to, you know, manage my time the best that I can. Yeah.
Shout out to whoever's being neglected so she can be on the podcast today.
I don't think anyone's being neglected like at, you know, 11:45 right now. So
that's why I picked this time.
We're working our sleep right now.
Walk us through some of like the financial side of playing golf, because it's hard enough for LPGA athletes to get sponsors,
right?
Let alone be in Symetra. Do you see a lot of girls with sponsorships or endorsements on Symetra?
I think it just really it varies across the board.
That aren't family businesses.
Yeah, so I think it's like just like anything else in life. I think a little bit of who you know, right? Yeah. If you know someone who is at a big company, like, and they want to put their logo on the bag, that's how that goes sometimes. And sometimes you meet people in pro-ams. I've had a lot of great pro-am groups this year, and they may invest in you that way. But like I said, I don't think people realize that it's not like other sports where you're guaranteed pay, or quite like, I would say on a week-to-week basis, it's probably anywhere from like $2,500 to $3,000, let's say, to like compete in a week. You have a $500 entry fee. Like I said, if you fly, that's probably a $400 plane ticket. Then it's a rental car, which are through the roof right now because everyone sold their fleets during COVID, and now there's like limited supply. Then it's a hotel room, which is probably not cheaper than $100 a night. It definitely adds up. Yeah. So I think there are some girls who have like some big time sponsors that wear logos. I think there's a few that maybe just like a family friend is a personal sponsor, that maybe there's not a logo to wear, but they email them every week and, you know, keep them updated on how they're doing or whatever. So I was fortunate to have a sponsor this year that helped a little bit. Sandra Warren, Executive Personnel Group. She was able to help me out some, but I am looking for
You said Sandra?
Sandra Warren.
Thank you, Sandra.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sandra.
You're my favorite Sandra besides Sandra
And you
Bullock.
said the company is what?
Executive Personnel Group. They're like
Executive
a
Personnel
staffing
Group.
company.
Okay, cool.
They're based out of like Eastern.
Shout out Sandra.
Yeah, Eastern North Carolina.
If you need a job,
Yep, check her out.
yeah, she'll staff you up.
So
We're employees.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
stop cutting you off.
No, you're good. It's just probably a $50,000 hurdle, 50 to
Per year?
So I'm definitely looking for sponsors for the 2022 season. I now have like a resume, to prove to people and stuff. So whether that's wearing logos or putting something on the bag, showing up for corporate events, I'm trying to contact some people now. And so yeah, if you know anyone who wants to help an aspiring professional
got you.
golfer, hit me up.
Listen, viewers,
No, I'm just kidding.
don't be lame, okay?
No.
If you need advertising or you need tax write-offs or whatever, because you can write that off. You can write off advertising.
And that's how
expense.
most people actually do it, is like an advertising thing.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not just like handing over, you get something in return. And I think the cool thing about it is like we do travel. I think I traveled to probably 15 different states or locations this year. So there's definitely countrywide, exposure, whether or not that's good for your business. Because I've gotten some things that are like, oh, we're only state. Do you play in North Carolina? Well, we play here once.
Yeah.
So is it great for them? Probably not. But then like the companies that are big time are like, oh, we're going the route of LPGA.
Or online kind of businesses.
Exactly. So I think it's somewhere like in between, or just someone who knows golf and probably just feels led to, just help. So I think it's important to know that everyone like has had some kind of help along the way, because I think very few people have a constant stream of that much money able to like pour into it.
Right.
So I am thankful for people who have supported me this far. But hopefully we will get to the LPGA very soon and can make a little bit more money.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of how the sponsorship avenue works. I mean, there's not a blueprint for it. Like I said, everything is just kind of different. Like just however someone feels led to help or, encourage, whatever. I have a lot of great people who follow me week to week and send me kind messages and keep me going. I'm very thankful for the support system that I have.
Well, and I think most often you see like financial service companies, insurance companies,
Even some like
healthcare type stuff.
yes, or let's say like Toyota of Concord, or whatever. Like, so it's the Toyota brand that everyone recognizes, but it might be a specific branch that actually gives you, or dealership
local
rather.
dealership.
Yeah. So it's not a one size fits all thing.
Well,
So.
it has to be something that's advantageous to be advertised on that stage, because it's not like you're televised.
Right.
So, like, for instance, on the financial services side, it makes sense because if you're represented and you encounter another player on Symetra who ends up going pro, they might have a sizable amount of money to then be managed or something like that, and that could be a good end for whoever sponsored you.
Right, and we play with a lot of company people in the
Right.
pro-ams, and you meet a lot of people that you may not realize, which is so cool as well. That's another reason, like, I love the job, because I'm meeting and, talking to different people every week.
Right.
Like, it's really cool.
Well, the pro-am's got to be big money people, because it's not cheap to play in those pro-ams.
Yeah, or sometimes, like, a company will do it like, hey, like, this is, like, our, not reward to the workers, but just like, hey, have a day, like, let's go to the golf course, let's get out type thing. I think you see a wide variety of people, but yeah, they aren't cheap. But that's also, some of those funds go towards,
Tournament
the
costs.
tournament. Yeah. So
Right.
it's like kind of a fundraising thing as well. And you get to play with, sometimes we'll play 9 holes with them and then switch pros. So they get like 2 pro interactions. Sometimes I'll play all 18 with them. So it's definitely fun.
Is there anything about the sport you don't like? Like, is there an aspect or maybe the traveling or anything that you're just like, I could do without this?
I think anything after a while can get a little bit, tiresome on you. Like, there's sometimes where I'm like, I just don't want to go anywhere. The traveling can get old. But I mean, overall, there's nothing like too crazy. I mean, do I think the purses could be bigger? Yes, obviously. So like I said, the Symetra and Corn Ferry, which are both under the PGA and LPGA, the average purse size on the men's side per week is $850,000, and our purse average is $200,000. So
But that's spread across the whole field.
that's spread across the whole field.
Yeah.
So you need some of that equality to
need
rub
some
off on the
cheddar.
golf
Well,
industry.
I mean, it's tough then to, people are like, oh, well, aren't you making money? Well, like, if you're in the top 10, you probably covered your expenses for that week. But if not, you really didn't.
Right.
So you can make a living on Corn Ferry, I would say. I think it's a little bit more tough on Symetra, but everyone knows it. So we're, like I said, we're kind of on this together. We're figuring it out together. But that's probably the only thing. And I think it's a big topic. I'm not saying that people don't like watching the guys probably play a little bit more and the money is there. But I think to make it like where girls can actually have a chance to like chase this dream a little bit like financially easier.
Are the entry fees the same?
I don't know what a Corn Ferry entry fee is, but
it
I know
makes
that
sense if
Symetra
the
entry
entry's
fees
higher.
are more expensive than LPGA entry fees.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's probably because sponsor money also.
Yes. I mean,
Which
no
is-
doubt
is
about
the
it.
big
Like,
difference,
yeah.
I would say, between like Symetra and Corn Ferry as well.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that, like, Corn Ferry's also televised some.
Yeah.
Now for
Yeah.
people like me who have no idea, is Symetra female and Corn Ferry is guys?
Yeah.
Okay. all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
did
Corn
not know
Ferry
that.
is the Symetra of the PGA side.
right. So they award
It's like
cards
one
for guys
step.
to then play on the PGA Tour.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
yeah, that's kind of the everyday thing from it.
You
But
look like you have a question.
No, I was just gonna say, I think I played in that tournament on PGA on the PlayStation.
What, the Corn Ferry tournament? So it used
And
to
you
be
were competitive,
it
huh?
used to be a
Web.com
tournament
tour.
before they became the title sponsor of the tour. Because it was the Web.com tour. And then their like contract was up, and they do basically a bidding war for a title sponsor. Whoever wants to give the most money for it.
right.
Having a boyfriend, which we know him, me and Jake both know him.
Shout out Graham.
Yeah, we love Graham. Do you ever play golf with him? And is that like a
Yeah, he has
he
the
hates
golf.
playing with you because you're better, or are you better than him?
No,
or-
I think he kind of uses it to his advantage sometimes, like, hey, us two versus y'all, like, type things. So but
Yes.
anyone who knows me, like, doesn't take that bet or whatever, So, no, we have
Dang,
fun with
that's
it.
confidence right there.
No, but, well, I mean,
I'm a professional golfer.
Yeah.
so,
We'll take that bet.
Yeah.
okay.
Us
Me and-
two versus
no,
you.
Versus you, not Graham.
Okay. So,
Me, Graham, and Jake versus you.
There we go. 3-man scramble.
that
versus
sounds
Carley.
fair. No, I'm just kidding.
You name the stakes. What is it? We're going to make this happen. I'm going to film it too. And we'll post it for all the viewers.
You guys name it.
All right. $5,000. Done deal. That's it.
No, we can
I
play
think
for
I just won
lunch or something.
$5,000.
I'm more mean. What's the game? We're gonna play a me and Trey scram. I hate that I'm making this bet right now. We're gonna play it not
What do you
because
mean
not because of you. But
Yeah, because of you.
Because of our last several 2-man scramble scores, they were not strong.
But yeah, did we lose?
No, we didn't. We didn't lose.
Never lost together.
So do you play to the level of your competition?
I would definitely say that I have grown as a golfer being on the tour this year. I think, you get in some of these situations and you realize I would do this differently next time. But then also, you see the level of like, okay, this is what's happening. Like if I want to make the cut, like I better, do better essentially. So I've definitely, I wouldn't say always playing to the level of your competition, but like if you're playing better people or you're surrounding yourself with people who are better, I think there's naturally a drive to not, to get better, to model things after that person. So definitely appreciate playing with people who are better. And sometimes they can provide tips for me and I can get better. I have a good friend around here. Her name's Sydney Clanton, and she's on the LPGA, and we play a lot together, and we have a lot of conversations. And she's definitely been a very good friend and also like, asset to ask like questions and kind of show me the way, because rookie year is kind of crazy, but yeah, no, it's been good.
Did she beat you?
Probably more times than I beat her, but we definitely we'll play. She's one of the people that I said we'll play for lunch a lot, or we'll play not necessarily score all the time. Like, okay, whoever makes the most birdies today,
Okay.
or whoever doesn't have 3 putts. We try to keep it different. Like whatever I'm working on in my game, or it may be like who hits the most fairways. We just kind of take what we're struggling with or areas that we wish we could get better and create a game out of it. So, a lot of times it isn't like score to score, if that makes sense.
I heard she can bomb the ball.
She is a very long hitter, bombs away. Yeah, I wish I could hit it as far as her, but
You're still above average on tour, right?
I think so.
Distance-wise?
Yeah, I probably should look into that stat, but I hold my own. I'm not the longest, I'm not the
What's
shortest,
the average
but
drive for you?
probably like 265, 270.
Pretty dang
Not
good.
not carry, but it eventually.
Total.
Yeah.
It'll get there.
Yeah.
That's cool. Walk us through some like tournament prep. Because don't you start on Monday to play on Thursday?
Yeah,
or Friday?
oftentimes you'll get into town Monday. Some girls will do a practice round Monday. Some just get settled in their hotel or whatever they're doing that week. Tuesday is usually the official practice round day, meaning that everyone gets a chance to play 18 holes if you want it.
Is it time slotted or first come first serve?
It used to be first come, first serve, but then with COVID, they didn't want everyone like mingling on the tee at one time. So there's like an online sign-up sheet that opens at a certain time every week that you sign up. So that's kind of how that's been. And I think everyone appreciated that because it's a little bit more organization because you could show up and then like wait an hour to tee off. If like it's not
rough.
So I'm a planner. I like to know what time I'm actually going to tee off. So that was good for me. Wednesday, Thursday is usually pro-am. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday are the rounds.
Okay.
And then it's like repeat next
What's
week.
your strategy typically for trying to get in the money? Are you shooting for a certain score on a day? Is it very much weather dependent?
I think it's weathered. Well, I think there's a lot of variables that go into it because
It
you
seems
play
like
a morning.
The cut's typically like 1 over or right around even par.
Yeah, there was
typically.
at the end of the season, the second to last tournament, the cut was 4 under. For 2 rounds.
Golly,
So it was definitely like, I was sitting at 4 under for coming on my 18th hole. And I looked up at the leaderboard. I'm like, no way the cut is 4 under. Like, wow. Thankfully I was there and I made the cut and you did well. But it's definitely like some stiff competition. But yeah, I would say earlier in the year it was around like 1, 2 over. Then kind of near the end of the year we had a few 1 unders, a couple 2 unders, and then a 4 under.
People getting it dialed in.
Yeah. So that... But as far as like preparation, I just try to make a game plan for the course. If weather does this or that, I'll note this is probably what I'm going to do in that situation. And then, you kind of just have to go in with it. Like I can only control what I can control. I can't control how Trey's playing. I can't control how Jake's playing. I can't control when the wind comes and does something crazy to the ball. Like, you'd be lying if you said there isn't a little bit of favor or if you want to call it luck, whatever, it has to go your way to like, play well, or you get the good wave and it's not raining in the afternoon, whatever. So it's not completely fair, but you can't play 144 people all at one time on the golf course either. So I definitely think you just have to kind of take it like, I'm going to choose to have a positive mindset. I'm going to choose to just push through it mentally. And like, if it falls in my favor, great. If not, hopefully I learned X, Y, and Z to help me for next time.
Yeah.
How soon into a round do you know if you're like, all right, I'm on today?
I think you can't, and I know I sound like pretty like neutral on it, but I've had rounds where I'm like 4 over and then I birdie the last 4 holes. Okay, and then I have rounds where I start 4 under through 9 and then I end up even par for the day. I think it really just like. You can't ever give up. You can't ever count yourself out because there's been too many times where maybe I'll have a few stupid bogeys from frustration and then have a few birdies to finish. And it's like, hey, if you would have just like not been so down, maybe you would have made pars on those holes and then those birdies would have came at the end and you would be shooting 70 instead of 72. Yeah. And it doesn't sound that much, but it's like 2 strokes is the difference between making cuts. I think I missed 3 cuts this year by 1 shot.
Wow.
Yeah, that's rough.
And it's so like, oh my gosh, if you would have just hung in there or not been as
all the
frustrated.
Things you could do.
Now that's a rabbit hole.
Putt, yeah.
So that's a rabbit hole you can go down to, but I think you just have to like really stay in it no matter what. I mean, how many, like any sport, I think that's true, But yeah, just kind of, there are some days where you're just like making everything and you're like, yeah, golf is easy today. There's very few times where I felt that, but yeah.
I want to ask the question that you hate then.
The question I hate? Or
Nope, she hates. Rookie year. How was it? How'd you do? How was the season?
Let's divide the season in halves. And the first half of the season, I was like, oh my gosh, everyone's expecting all this out of me. Like, I've got to come out guns blazing. Like, I'm getting my LPGA card. I really let the circumstance define my play, and that's the kind of the season where there's a few cuts that I missed, like by a sizable amount, but there were 3 or 4 where I missed it by 1 stroke, and it's just really like, Carley, this could have changed the trajectory of like getting your LPGA card. But then halfway through the season, so referencing back to Q school, where you are in August determines if you have to start Q school all the way back over or if you get to go straight to second stage. So I was right on the bubble of having to go back to first stage. And I felt like I didn't really play that bad because, you know, when you're only missing it by a shot or two, like you're not really that far off the mark,
right.
But you don't get money towards the money list. So referencing back to my shoulder injury, I had some really terrible pain in my left shoulder. And I was like, of course this happens this week. This is the pivotal week in my season. If I don't make this cut, I have to go all the way back to stage 1. I might not have Symetra next year. I start spiraling. I will say that my faith was like 0. And
as in yourself? For making...
Well, just like, I think it was easy to be like, really, God, like, I've barely missed these cuts. This is like the most important week all season for me. My shoulder's giving me issues. I was literally debating pulling out because I was in so much pain. I had an MRI the following week scheduled. They couldn't get me in before this event. Like, I didn't know if I had torn my labrum again. Like, I can pinpoint the week that my season turned around. But I think what I'll say is, like, I was like having a pity party for myself. I was like, God, why are you letting this happen? I really feel like this is what I'm called to do, at least in this season of my life. Like, why would you let this happen to me? I just want to know if I'll make the cut. Like, but that's not really faith, is it? Like, knowing the outcome, but not, I want to know what happens and then believe that. I was wanting to know the outcome and then saying it was faith, like believing it, but like without faith it's impossible to please God. And I was not really not having true faith. Like, I knew everything would be okay. It wouldn't be the best, but like, I really had a heart check, a faith check, and like every swing I took that tournament, I was in so much pain, but I just prayed throughout the whole rounds, like, please, Lord, just help me get through this round. Like, I was going to give it a go because I was signing up to start all over if I didn't make this cut. And it's kind of one of those things where, like, you're so dependent on God in that moment. Like, that's all I thought the whole round. I was just, like, praying. I was like, please just help me get through this. Like, if it's a serious injury, like, I'll deal with it after. So I ended up shooting 70, 72, or 70, 71, 3 under and making the cut. And I just remember, like, so many emotions, but feeling, like, so grateful, but also, like, really, if it's God's plan, like, I have nothing to do with it. Like, that week was an absolute God thing because it was not me. I was in so much pain. I don't know how I did it. Like, I was just, like, popping pills and just, like, getting through it, like ibuprofen. Ibuprofen. But,
ibuprofen.
It was just really, like, a heart check, a faith check. Like, I was so trying to control my outcome. And it's like, it's not my job to control the outcome. Like, it's my job to be obedient and to have faith and to believe. And if it happens, great. But if not, he's sovereign. And, like, his plan's better than mine. I can only see at this point in time, but he sees, from a bigger point of view. And maybe I went through that week to, like, learn something, or I went through that week to have my faith, rechecked. And had it not happened that week and the outcome be different, like, that would have been his plan, and that's okay. But it turned out great, and I didn't have to go back, and I made every cut then coming in.
Wow.
So it just really made me like, okay, Carley, you need to let go. Just let things happen up to him, because if I try I have nothing to do with the outcome anyway. Like, even if I worry myself to death.
Yeah.
But I was saying I was having faith, but I really wasn't. I was wanting to know the outcome, then believe for that, when it's like, you have to believe no matter what the outcome is, because it's my job to be obedient and to believe, not to know the outcome. So that was definitely a pivotal point in the season for me. And then I had a really good finish to the season.
Yeah.
Got enough status to retain my Symetra card, which was hard because I didn't play good at the beginning of the season. So I think it was definitely a learning thing, and I feel better prepared for next year. So yeah, that's probably a long-winded answer to that, but it definitely.
You got a little life lesson in the middle of the season.
I mean, and it sounds so trivial that it's like just golf or whatever, but like it means a lot to me, and it determined my whole next year of like status and what I'll do. So I think it was really good. Just, yeah, spiritually and like confidence wise, like it just lit something in me that was like, you know what, just let go and let God. And sounds cliche, but once you've had a week like that and then like you realize that I have nothing to do with how things turn out, it's a lot easier to be like, you know what, God, it's in your hands now. Like I believed, I prayed, I'm trying to obey. Do I do it every time? No, but it definitely turned out better than I could have drew it up.
Part of it's being faithful, right? You're faithful in the preparation. And so you know that you're capable of playing good golf.
Right.
So you have to get yourself out of the way and just let the muscle memory take over a lot of the time.
Right.
Which is hard to do when all you can think about is how much pain you're experiencing.
Right.
But speaking of knowing outcomes, you can just rest assured that Trey and I will beat you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, pray on that one.
Yeah.
All right. What's your favorite course that you've played? It doesn't have to be like tournament golf. It can be if you want it to, but like your favorite golf course to play.
Oh gosh. Well, see,
And it can be the experience too. It doesn't have to be.
I also tend to like black out on questions like this. Like, what's your favorite movie? I'll go blank. What's your favorite ice cream? That's the only one that I can always say. No, but I have the answer to it. I have the answer. I'm like proud of myself. We played a course in Idaho this year, in Coeur d'Alene, and as far as like scenery and looking around and literally seeing like mountains and everything, like it kind of reminds me of Jackson Hole, but a little bit different. So that was like scenic wise. I mean, the golf course was in great shape too. But my favorite course to play on a consistent basis around here is probably River Run, which is my home course.
Shout out River Run.
River Run, love you. So yeah, that's.
Never been.
Yeah, it's expensive.
If you're nice to me, I might invite you out
Oh,
sometime.
really?
Right?
I think that might.
I mean, maybe we can beat you. Maybe that's where we can beat you.
I don't know if you want to play there.
Why is it really?
It's hard.
Really tough.
Is there a lot of dog legs, right? Because I'm good at those.
All right. What tee box are you playing from?
I usually play around 6,500 yards, maybe up to 67 if they're feeling like they want to torture us a little bit, but probably sweet spots like 64 to 6,500.
Is that pretty typical on tour?
Yeah, they like to play the par threes really long. I doubt we have a par three under like 165 yards.
Yeah.
All the way up to like 200 yards.
So do you play the little combo deal? What's it, like yellow and white or something like that?
I just looked whatever. Yeah, I mean, most of the time I think it's a combo, but well, at River Run, I'll play the white tees all the way around, which is probably closer to like 66, 67.
That's
probably.
A long course.
It's really long. It beats you up, but you know, I mean, like if you play something hard all the time, then when you get somewhere else, you're like, oh, I can handle this.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's more of the opposite effect when you're used to playing somewhere a little bit easier. Then you go somewhere and it just like hits you like a brick wall. Like, oh, this is way harder than anything I've ever done before. So I think practicing in more challenging places, you may not come home and say, hey, I shot 70 or, 72 today every day, but you're learning how to hit some like tough shots and learning from that.
I remember coming from Irish Creek where I was starting to shoot some really nice scores.
Shout out to the Creek. That was also my home for a very long time.
I went out to River Run to play for the first time, and it ate me alive. And then finally got it under control once I got used to the course. But
so yeah, Trey, we will definitely play at River Run.
I think
It sounds like I'm not gonna have any fun.
I think the first time I played River Run, I shot like a 92. Granted, it was a tournament. So, like, that was something.
Tournament pressure also totally different.
I had never played. It was my first legitimate tournament, and I was just like, I didn't get there in time to hit balls because there were people everywhere. I was there in time, but you couldn't get on the range, and so I went out cold, and had not played the greens or anything because it wasn't a River Run organized tournament. It was the Golf Week Am Tour. And it was on a day the club was closed. So like
Monday.
Yeah, so the short game facility was not open.
Yeah.
It was just the driving range. I don't even think the practice green was just overrun with people. So that was
So that's why he shot 92.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Golf is such a fickle thing.
It really is.
I had a round. We played a 2-man scramble. And we shot a worse score than I shoot usually with my own ball. Which it wasn't me and Trey. I was playing with.
Why is he doing that?
No, it was. It was. We played bad that day. We just weren't good enough to win at the Warrior.
Redbridge?
No, at the Warrior. Redbridge, yeah. Sorry.
Crazy. Yeah, we didn't. I played great.
We went there.
Speak for yourself, huh?
I don't know about Jake.
We shot like 82 in a 2-man scramble, and then I was pretty much done with golf. I was like, I'm never playing this game again.
My golf luck is like
the one good shot will keep you coming back.
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
one.
that's true.
Well, then I showed up the next time to play, and I shot my first bogey-free round.
Oh wow.
And I was like,
That's so
okay.
rewarding. That's so rewarding.
It's like, all right, cool.
Yeah, that is so rewarding.
So, anyways,
You can relate.
River Run can be the place, but we might have to go to the tips.
Even better.
What are you?
She's just gonna smoke it past us the whole time.
I'm not driving then. Like I'm just gonna let you drive, and
I will. I do have to warn you. My driver's been on fire lately.
Okay.
It's been on fire.
I
And
love to
Trey's
see it.
putter
mine
is
has
legendary.
my driver's been on fire too, but it's been actually on fire. Like
Lit it on fire.
something's wrong with it.
Speaking of drivers, let's do your what's in the bag. So you do have a club sponsorship with Callaway, right?
Yes. Thank you, Callaway. They
Yeah,
are very good
Callaway.
at giving us clubs on the women's side. Barry Lida, he's my club guy.
You definitely, I do see, I feel like Callaway more so than any other brand.
And
on
do
the
you know
women's
that
side.
it's not just because it's like given to me, it's because literally I got fitted for it and
Their stuff's
their
great.
equipment is great.
This Apex stuff is,
Yeah, so I have Epic Driver,
Let's see that
Callaway.
take that
Kind of
cover
hard
off
for
of there.
me to, boop, there it is in all its beauty.
Oh, and all those middle strikes.
Oh my goodness.
Good
Wow.
gracious.
Oh my goodness. I won't take the head covers off of everything,
That's
but I
fine.
have Maverick, which is also Callaway. 3
So
wood,
you're not even
5
rocking
wood.
the latest stuff.
This is the latest driver.
This is?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, latest as of like I got it back in August, so it
Okay.
was. They could have very well came out with something by now. I'm not. 100%
They come out
sure.
with things quite often.
Yeah. I'm sure around the holidays something will be
Yeah.
coming out. A Callaway Epic hybrid,
Mm-hmm.
hybrids. Callaway Apex irons, and then I have Titleist Vokey wedges. That's been like, I love Titleist wedges, and then Odyssey putter, which is actually Callaway as well. Odyssey and Callaway are like the same company. So everything but the wedges are Callaway. Team Callaway.
Wow.
So
Let's talk bag essentials.
bag essentials.
You got a day on the course. What do you have to have?
balls.
Yep.
Trey.
And that is like you literally and physically have to have balls to be able to take those shots out there.
Golf balls. I should have to be
I'm
specific
sorry.
around these children.
Well, I did not want to
It
laugh at
just
that.
came with so much force.
It was just,
Well, you're not going to get very far if you don't have a golf ball to play with. We'll just throw that out there.
yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
That's how I was thinking of it.
I
Like,
gotta
yeah,
back
of
to-
course you have
Well,
to
I
have
was more thinking of
golf
like,
balls.
yeah, you gotta have clubs, balls, and tees.
Yeah.
But I was thinking more like,
A
Okay, I'm
golf-
sorry. I didn't know how.
definitely
I didn't
no,
know
it's cool. It's cool.
How-
gotta,
elementary.
gotta have a golf cart. That's crucial
See,
for me.
no.
No, bro.
We
you gotta
walk.
walk.
We
See,
don't
that's what I'm
ride.
saying. I would ride.
Well, I mean, when I'm
I would
home-
be the only person out there cruising in a cart.
I promise you, there were a couple days with as long as that course is out at River Run where I got to like hole 8 and I
Oh,
was
yeah.
planning on walking 18 and I was like, not a chance. And
Yeah.
I just turned it in after 9. I was done.
Yeah, no, definitely. Some snacks, sunscreen most of the time. Got to be protecting that skin.
You got them fancy sleeves too,
I do.
right?
Sparms. They are the most amazing
Is that a
sleeves.
sponsor?
They do give me product, yes.
Okay,
So
cool.
thank you, Sparms.
Yeah.
I wear them all the time. People used to make fun of me, but I'm like, you know what? I'm out in the sun so much, like I'm trying to not look wrinkly
it's
by
a
like.
Keeps you
more-
cool, right? Like it's
It
it's
really
like a-
does, because if you just start sweating a little bit, and then if the breeze comes by, it's like, oh, like
Well, a lot more people are using them now.
yeah.
think.
Well,
You
I
see
think
people
there's
with them lot.
there's a trend of taking care of your skin or realizing the importance of it, especially when you're just out there for 5-6 hours a day, like all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
I get some pretty bad tan lines, but
Gnarly.
the sleeves are definitely a go-to. But yeah, just
Are you a music? Do you listen to music out there or no? Or?
when I'm practicing like by myself, yeah, but not when we're actually like in tournament weeks and stuff.
Yeah.
I do, just because it kind of helps me like be in my own little world a little bit more. Some people have differing opinions on that, but
How often you get interrupted while you're trying to practice? Every time?
I mean,
Because I assume most people out there, when you're out there, they're probably familiar with you, right?
yeah, I wouldn't say it's more of an interruption as if, like, like I said, I'm not home much. If I am home that week, everyone's like, Carley, like, great tournament, or it's so good to see you. Like, so I wouldn't necessarily call them interruptions, but there's definitely like some moments where I'll like take a 5-minute break and like chat or something, you know, which is good for me too, because I don't want to be just like going a million miles an hour the whole time I'm out there. But yeah, no, and I do appreciate it. Like, I'm a people person. No, I'm a people person, so I love the chatting and everything. Famous. Sure, we'll go with that. I don't even know if that's kind of a stretch, probably, but.
Well, after this is posted, you'll definitely be locally famous.
You guys are just gonna increase my fame.
We're gonna increase the fan base. We're gonna get you some sponsors.
That'd be great.
We're gonna beat
or
you.
Or if somebody's trying to launder money, they could do that too.
Yeah, if you need your money rinsed,
scratch that.
If you need your money cleaned.
Yeah, if you need to clean some money, invest in a golfer.
Just run it through Carley's golf career.
Just don't tell me about it.
Yeah, we'll keep that on the low. Cool. Well, we typically do a question of the day. Unless you have another one.
No, I do have something before that.
Okay.
Callaway does this thing on Instagram where they post a bag or whatever, and you can tag 3 people
to win
the bag. Mm-hmm. And I haven't won one yet. Could you talk to them about that for me?
I'll try to put in a good word.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's D-Trey Melton is my username.
Okay.
I usually tag the same 3 people.
Maybe that's what you're doing wrong then.
Oh.
Maybe if you tag me, it'll.
I will tag.
I'm totally
Start
kidding.
tagging Callaway athletes.
You're gonna be pissed when you look at your Instagram.
Trey again.
It's like, oh my god, it's the same bag.
How do you want people to reach out if they are interested in some sort of sponsorship? You want to reach out through me, and I'll just kind of pass them along if it seems legit?
I mean, sure. Or, if they have my phone number or email, whatever. Yeah, whatever. I mean, yeah, through you is fine. Cool. They probably would know you if they're...
Reach out if y'all are looking for something like that. If you feel like it's a good match, no pressure, but also all the pressure. Pulling in the personal favors.
I want to ask the same question of the day that we did.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't remember what it was.
It was in 10 years. What do you see? Are you a professional golfer 10 years down the road? Do you have a family? Do you have
I definitely have a family with kids. Probably at that point, I've hoped to have a couple successful years on the LPGA, and I would probably, by the time that I have kids, like, want to hang up
You done?
things. I mean, it's hard because golf careers probably aren't that. Well, I say that. On the women's side, I think because people do start having families and, that becomes more. Yeah, Annika, she came back, but she, I think it's easier, like, for PGA guys to obviously, like, have kids and keep going because their wife is, taking care of the kids, or traveling with them. There's the budget to then travel, right? I mean, I would like to I know there's not a clean break, but I'd like to chase this for a little bit longer, then eventually have kids and be married and probably retired from that and just on to whatever next holds for me. But I'm kind of foolish to try to plan like that because as soon as that happens, I have no clue where I'll be in 10 years. But I definitely do want to.
LPGA Tour athlete ever.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And you're doing some real estate too?
Yes, I did get my real estate license during 2020 whenever I was not playing some golf. And I've done a few transactions, so that's cool. But that's me, yeah. Maybe I'll hang up the clubs and then just do real estate full time. But it's definitely...
I did the opposite.
It's definitely fun.
I did the opposite.
Yeah.
I'm hanging up the real estate to go golf full time.
You know what? That's...
Responsibilities.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And I'm not joking. You really have to fix my slice.
We can work on it. But after I beat you.
Well...
She's trying to... Well, don't worry.
We might have to play a few times, but...
We just won't let her on the TrackMan until we finish.
Have you been on the TrackMan?
No.
Oh, wow.
I got to go watch them be on it.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Trey was like almost an hour late.
No, I don't.
There was a lot
listen, I can't
happened.
remember all the details of what went on right there, but it got mixed up. I wasn't there.
He had to make his own food for the day.
Mm.
And
you know how hard that is?
And do
I
some
do know
chores.
how hard that
he had to
is.
do some adult chores that usually he has done for him.
I had to shower and
like
clean myself and
the beauty preparation.
make my. It takes a lot to look like this.
Yeah. It's a lot of beauty sleep.
I finally got mullied up.
Yeah, you didn't see
Look
his
at
mullet?
that.
That's a thing of beauty. Show that to the people.
Any single ladies listening right now, I'm also single.
Yeah.
Cue the Beyonce song.
Yeah.
I
All the
will.
single
You
ladies.
think I won't, but that's going to be playing right now in the
All
background.
the single ladies.
Actually, we'll have to see if I can.
Yeah, I
cover
don't know
it
if
for
you
that. I don't
might
think
get
I can.
might get striked for that, but if there are any single ladies out there of age,
You had to specify.
well, I mean, there's
You today are a problem. You are a problem.
that's being responsible.
Bro, leave that on your Tinder page.
I'm saying obviously not. Like I need a woman.
A woman. 25 or
Of age.
older.
Not a girl.
25 or older.
Well, 18.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Carly, for coming
Thanks
on.
for having me on. I enjoyed it.
And stay tuned for the video of us beating Carly.
Yeah.
God, it's going to suck if we lose, but we probably will.
You're going to lose.